What's up, everybody? Trey Griggs here, Beta Consulting Group, and it is Monday, and we are here for episode 84 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. Do us a favor, go check us out over at betaconsultinggroup.com. See how we're helping companies with their branding, their messaging, their content creation, social media. How are they telling their story to the marketplace? That's what we're all about. So check us out. We'd love to work with you. Fill out a form. We'll get back to you and see how we can help you tell your story out there in the marketplace. Also, I want to let you guys know that we have a new thing today, dropping today. We have a new swag store that's releasing today, everybody. Just go to shop.betaconsultinggroup.com. Find out some really good gear out there. Got some logos on it. Got the word on the street gear. We got standing out gear and different things. Got coffee mugs, water bottles, all kinds of things. And this week, you can use coupon code BETAGO for grand opening. BETAGO for 10% off of your entire order. Check us out at shop.betaconsultinggroup.com. Very excited about that today. We're going to be putting more of that out on social media for you guys to see that. Make sure you use that coupon code BETAGO for 10% off your entire order at our swag store. Very excited about that. And we also want to give a little love to our sponsor, to TAFS. These are the good guys in Freight Factory. They're helping companies with their cash flow, with discounts on fuel. These are carriers and owner operators that just need, a little bit more, a little help out there with what they need. So check them out at TAFS.com or visit the link that Morgan's going to put into the comments. That takes you directly to my landing page so they know that I sent you. And you can get started with them today. If you're a broker out there, a freight broker, you can become a referral partner. Make sure that your carriers always have everything they need to keep those wheels moving and to move your freight out on the road. All right, everybody, we're going to have a great week of shows this week, but today we're going to get started right away. I don't want to take up any more time. Please welcome to the show my good friend, the founder of Pinnacle Growth Advisors, Brent Orsuga. Brent, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Good, my man. Thanks for having me back on.
Had to get through everything, man, because I didn't want to take too much time away from this conversation today and just hearing what's good in your world. What is going on, my man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back in Scottsdale. I'm glad to be back in my office this morning. I've literally been on a whirlwind for really the past 30 days and beyond of just travel and hotels and
That's an understatement.
Yeah, it's been amazing, but definitely nothing is better than being home for sure.
Good to see you back in the office with the plaques behind you and all that. I'm sure it's nice just to be home with the fam and to just feel like you can really grind and get things done, which is awesome. I don't want to take too much time away from really focusing on what we'll talk about today. So obviously this trip, it's been all over social media. You've done a great job of posting it. 16 flights in 30 days. I mean, looking back, does that just seem crazy?
It is, but I mean, there was so much momentum and excitement behind every one, so it didn't seem like a tenuous track, right? I mean, it was something I was looking forward to every time. So I was very happy to do what I was doing.
So this was the culmination of a lot of philosophy on your part and momentum and building up to it. What led to this trip? And let's just talk a little bit about your mindset in terms of personal development, because you're a big believer in that. Talk a little bit about what led you to this trip and what you've been doing the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, this last 30 days was a big component of 3 buckets, which I think everybody tries to excel in within life, right? There's business, there's personal, and then there's family. And that's just a way that I kind of live every single day. So the last 30 days encompassed all of those. I know what we want to speak about is a lot about the personal development side of things, which I'm more than glad to share. I mean, I hope everyone watching this understands, I spend tens of thousands of dollars on myself every year to become the best version possible. So I'm more than glad to share some nuggets that I've learned along the way. If people want to chime in and ask questions, like I feel like I went there, boots on the ground, to kind of learn a lot of this stuff. So I'm more than glad to share it with others.
Yeah, Samantha, thanks for watching this show today. Definitely, we'd love to hear some questions that people might have. But tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, think about that. Some people, think about like just making income and having extra money. Tens of thousands of dollars. Where did that value, like where did the priority that this is important? I'm going to invest not only my time, but I'm going to invest resources, money into doing this. Not only the programs, the flights, everything that you're into. Where did that come from?
Well, I think that, you and I are both big sports people. I think that we're both basketball specifically, right? So if you think about it, I mean, we've all heard how LeBron James invests $1 million into his body every year. What you have to understand is like, this is the vehicle, to get me to wherever I want to be. And that's so right. I have to do whatever it's going to take to become the best version of who I am. I've always been able to be a high producer, always been able to kind of work deals and kind of be that. But as you continue to level up in business, as a parent, as a spouse, as an entrepreneur, You cannot remain the same. You cannot be the same person. And so for me, what I've done is kind of seeked out things that are going to make me better. To me, that was coaching, right? How else are you going to become the best? Trey, I don't care if it's golf. I don't care if it's bowling. I don't care if it's public speaking. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's entrepreneurship. I don't care what it is. There's really, really hard to get into a coaching situation, personal trainer, where you're going to walk out worse than you came in.
Yeah, it's impossible. If you're invested, it's impossible.
That's it. And then here's the thing too. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to put money where your mouth is and put dollars behind it, because now there's self-accountability. And if you want the truth, I'm paying to be in certain rooms, proximity, because I want to be around really smart people, really successful people, people that have done much bigger things than myself, because I want there to be an exchange of energy and ideas there. So you're darn right. I will pay whatever to be in those rooms, because I'm not going to walk out of there the same.
That's right. And when you think about it, like if you have the mindset that you want things for free, a lot of times it's because you don't value them. But when you value something, you're willing to pay for it, and it doesn't bother you. In fact, I wouldn't want to go to a coach that wouldn't want me to pay something. I wouldn't want to invest my life, and I probably wouldn't be as invested in that. It's like, going to a trainer or going to a gym. Sometimes you just need to pay the money to go and get the value out of it and go do it.
Well, and I want to learn from people that have actually done something, right? I think there's a lot of, even if you look at social media, a lot of business coaches, I get hit up nonstop by all these people. I'm like, well, what have you done? What's your resume? What business have you built that you're going to be able to teach me different things? So when you get the chance to learn from people that have built 7 and 8 and 9 and billion-dollar companies, there's something to be said there. There's a skill set that they have learned along the way. That's what I'm trying to learn. And we can break these down, because there was three core things that I did over the course of the past 30 days.
Yeah, I want to get into all those. Yeah.
Yeah. Arte Syndicate out in St. Louis with Andy Frisella and Ed Milet. I went on an entrepreneurs organization retreat in Colorado Springs to focus on a 10-year vision. And then this past Friday over in Rosemont, I did one through Strategic Coach, which was all around time management and running our calendar. So I'll follow your lead, but I'll break down everything I learned along the way the last 30 days.
Well, I love the fact that you brought up that LeBron James spends $1 million a year on his body, and that includes his mind, that includes everything. I also love, Warren Buffett said this one time. He said, you're only going to get, one mind and one body your entire life. You need to make sure that it lasts. But I would even go a step further to what you're saying. It needs to perform at its optimal as much as possible. And that requires, having people pour into you, having people help out and do those kind of things. That first one that you went to, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, that had to be like, what was that like to start off the trip with those guys here in St. Louis?
It's incredible. We went to the First Form facility, which Andy owns. And again, there was only about 100 of us that were there from all over the world. And so it's just a very, very high level, high energy, very motivating room. See, for myself, I personally never needed the Tony Robbins, rah, rah, rah. I don't need to go walk on fire. I don't need to stand on a chair for 48 hours. Because to me, a lot of that is short-lived, right? It's injecting energy and helium into somebody. But my question was, what happens Monday morning? What happens when you go home and you go back into your routines and your habits? So for me, I always wanted very tactical information, things that I can live and take home and implement. Because that's the big thing too. There can be a lot of what I call conference or success junkies. They go to all these different things, but they never actually put anything into action. See, that's the one separator around myself. Whatever I've learned, I actually do. That's a big separator there. But if we focus on that event, Ed Milet, a lot of people know him, amazing. This individual that I had a chance to interact with, the conversations, the way he lives life, the core values, the business aspect of it, to learn these things is invaluable. Two of the things that I learned that I think could be of value to whoever's watching this was around visualization and around balance. I'm going to start with the balance one. The biggest thing that he taught us when we were there is balance is very hard, right? There's a lot of talk around it, right? How do you be the best in business, the best at home, the best personally? Because you just get tugged all day long. The biggest thing that he taught was you have to be where you are. You have to be present wherever you are. What that means, when I'm in the office like this, I'm dangerous. I'm locked in. It's all business. Laser focus. Mm-hmm. When you're at the gym for that hour or 90 minutes, you're not responding to texts and emails. You're there in that moment and you're going all in that environment. When it's 5:30 and your kids are done from school and you walk into the home environment, guess what? No
All
longer
there.
are you this killer businessman. You are a parent. You put your phone down, you take your watch off, right? And when you're in those moments, you lock in that situation. So balance is a very hard thing, but when you break it down in those segments, that's who you are, and that's the moments that you dominate there.
It's so critical to do that. Everybody gets your best in that moment. Everybody gets your absolute best. And that's something that we as a culture struggle with big time. We started doing that in our house. Our phones go away at the dinner table at a certain time. All the phones go to the charging station, and that's it for the night. No more of that. Like all those things, like just creating those boundaries is so critical. It's so important that your kids see that. They see you working hard, they see you providing, but they also see that you care about them. You want to know how their day was. You want to, get down on the floor and wrestle with them or help them with their homework or go do something they want to do. Like, man, it is so critical to give your absolute best everywhere that you are, being present. That's huge. Ed Milet also talks. Go ahead, keep going.
I was going to say the other part that he taught us, which I'm a big believer in, was the visualization aspect. I think a lot of times people hear about the law of attraction or visualization. Oh, that's just foo-foo. That stuff's not very real. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing that I learned from there, and something that I've actually lived in and implemented in myself, is involving emotion into what you want. What I mean by that is when you are trying to accomplish something, right? How real are you making it? Are you actually putting your actions and your senses into play? You want a certain vehicle? When was the last time you drove down to the lot, sat in that vehicle, felt the steering wheel on your hands, adjusted the seat, looked in the mirrors, pictured your kids behind you, and felt what that was like? When was the last time that you went into a community or a home or an area that you're trying to be into, and you walked into that home and you started to visualize around, man, where can my stuff go?
Mm-hmm.
Where does the couch go? Where would I put my TV? Where would my home office look like in this room? Can you picture yourself and your kids running out back and what that looks like? When was the last time you did it? It's one thing to throw a picture on a wall. It's another thing to involve emotions, right? It's another 100%. Thing to actually go and sit first class and buy your family first class and level up as far as that capacity, right? Because this is now who we are. Changing those identities and changing those triggers around yourself. This is all stuff that he does. This is stuff that I do. The home that I live in now, I'll tell you how granular I've made this. The home that I live in now, that we moved in a couple years back, I wanted to be in there so bad. It was a big reach, but I wanted to be in there so bad. I used to go to the gate and I used to time myself how long it would take to get to my office. I would literally pull up to this gate, do a U-turn, and drive out as though I already came there. So you can think this is hocus pocus. This is real life stuff, right?
I love it.
From a business standpoint, when was the last time you drove around your area and envisioned an office building with your sign and logo on it? When was the last time you walked into that building and saw 10,000 square feet? Wow, what would this look like? Right? Can I hear the noise? Can I hear people talking? Can I see the live desk? Can I see this around me? Most people don't do that to make it very emotional. This is one of the biggest takeaways that he taught us, which made it very real.
Man, I love that. And I do that too. I do it in different ways. So one of my huge goals is I'm going to play professional golf someday. I know it sounds absolutely nuts, but I literally I envision myself walking down the fairways, walking next to another pro, talking about whatever, lining up a shot, talking to my caddy over a shot, figuring it all out. I mean, I've done it so much that I've dreamed it. Like I've literally had dreams where I woke up and it felt like it was real. Like I was playing.
I'm going to share something here. I'm going to rip this off my wall, but what I have here, actually I can't, but it says year 2023, congratulations to Pinnacle Growth Advisors on winning the Inc. 5000. This is on my wall that I'm staring at right here, which is my face, the company logo, and the Inc. 5000 image, right? So I stare at this all day long. Everyone knows that's my obsession. I'm not stopping this train until I get that award. So I surround myself even visually around stuff where I come from the future as though it already happened. I don't play from behind. Again, anyone that knows me knows. Offense, not defense. I don't sit back and let things come to me, right? I come full steam. This is all stuff that I've learned. This is not just some stuff that I've just made up, read in some book. These are actions where everyone wonders why we went like this. It's because I live this stuff. I breathe it. This is every single day steps that I take.
And top athletes do the same thing. Michael Jordan will say that, he's envisioned these scenarios before they come up. So what's he afraid of? He's already seen him do it.
Think about an athlete. What does an athlete do? A golfer, right? They stand there before a putt. They close their eyes sometimes and they visualize it going in. Trey, you and I are hoopers. When you go to the free throw line, right, everything slows down. You kind of stare at it, you vision it, and you picture it going in. a field goal kicker. Does that guy just walk up and just kick and let's see what it is? No, he centers himself. He slows down. He visualizes it going through. I do the same with phone calls. See, I expect to win. And so that comes from a lot of confidence, which we know, I've said this 1,000 times, confidence comes from competence. So all of this personal development, all of this stuff that I've done has built so much momentum and so much confidence around myself that expectation to win is at a premium, right? But it's the same thing. When you go into a meeting, when you go onto a call, when you're getting in front of a client, what do you expect is going to happen? Yeah. And you have to slow down and role play this stuff going on. So that's the first one on the Arate. We can keep going because again, I've learned.
Well, going back to the shooting free throws, I used to listen to the sound of the net splashing. Like that was my vision when I get there, and it wasn't necessarily watching it go in. It was I could hear that sound of it splashing through the net, and that was kind of my trigger. So let's go to visualization because you talked about this. Your next one was with your entrepreneurs organization, and visualization and vision is so powerful. What did you talk a little about what that was, the entrepreneur organization, what you did, and what you got out of that?
Oh, this was amazing. So if anyone knows, they've seen me kind of post around EO is what it's known for. So it's 16,000 people globally. You have to have a certain revenue size business. You have to be an entrepreneur. It's just an amazing group that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of. But what we did, because the biggest thing for a lot of us is
it industry specific or no? Like it's just
which is even better, right? Because you learn from people from all over, all sizes of businesses and everything. But what it is a lot of us never focus on the business because we're always in the business. It's very easy just to get through the day-to-day. Where do we stand? You're going 100 miles per hour. But when do you ever slow down? So my forum, which we called, it was 8 of us. We flew to Colorado Springs. We rented a house on 158 acres to get as far away as possible so we could work on things that I'm going to share. And the biggest thing we did there was slow down and talk about it is 10 years from now. It is 2032. Myself, I'll be 55. I know how old my kids will be, which kind of blew my mind. But it's like, what do you want? What do you envision? What do you want your life to be like, right? So we broke it down again into the 3 buckets: personally, family, and business. And I'm just going to read off some questions that we sat down with a pen and paper, which means you involve emotion. And this is the stuff that we wrote out. See, this is personal to everybody. Just when is the last time that you did this? People have to learn how to journal and how to write this movie script. This is a movie script. That's all this is. No one's forcing this into me. This is what I want. Therefore, what's holding me back from accomplishing it? So questions like this, right? On a personal side, describe your work-life balance. How do you see yourself collaborating with your spouse? Again, 10 years from now, when me, I'm 55, you'd be 54. What are you doing, June 27th, 2032? What are you doing to support your physical health? How would you describe your accomplishments? Are you involved in the community? What is your creative outlet, sport, passion? Do you see yourself acquiring new skills in education, right? Who are you in 10 years? All stuff to slow down and think about. On the family side, where is your marriage in this life stage? What role are you playing with other family members, your children, siblings, parents, in-laws? What makes your leadership in the family effective or ineffective? How might you be able to help the family handle conflicts constructively, right? Slow down. Like, where are you? On the business side, which is my favorite side, right? Because I'm a dog. I love this stuff. What aspirations do you have for yourself professionally? Is there a board of directors around you? Are shareholders organized? What have you done to earn the trust of your executives? What are you doing to satisfy your customers? What issues do you fear outside of your control? What new policies are in place? See, this is something that we did for hours and hours and hours in making that movie script, right? Guys, where are we? You're a plumber, you're a painter, I'm a recruiter, you're a financial advisor, all different chapters of life, 32, 42, 48, 56, right? But we collectively sat down and slowed down and got calm and threw our phones away and said, let's lock into this moment. And I won't share what we shared amongst each other, but there probably wasn't a dry eye in that room because now we're pushing each other. Now there's some accountability. Now I said, brother, I see where you're wanting to go. Guys, I just opened up my entire playbook of what I want my life to look like. You don't think those brothers are behind me going to help me push me 100%. To get there?
100%.
They're equally bought in, right? So these are things that I try to infect into anybody around me. Anyone that is around me, I want to make them better, personally and professionally. That's my MO.
How many days was that?
That was 3 days immersive.
Yeah, that's so critical because I think what happens is people think, I mean, when you first sit down, that's not where the magic is when you first start. The magic is day 2. The magic is 10 hours in. The magic is after you've had time to just stop and thinking about everything else that's going on and think about that. And those creative juices get going. Day 2, day 3, that's where the magic happens.
Well,
when
and
you
I've
slow down
always
and do
lived
it.
life off a reverse engineer mindset, right? So anything that I put out there, it's like, okay, well, how does that become reality? Like what actual action steps need to occur? So I always set the bar high and I always raise that at a premium because I want to be able to work away from it and come from a place as though that's already happened. Everything I wrote down, that's already happened because no one wrote that for me. Therefore, what's holding me back? But now to talk about tie everything in, personal development, to get to what I wrote down, that is not the same person that I am in 2022. I have to become pretty dynamic, pretty dangerous, level up in many, many ways to get to where I want to be. But guess what? Who controls that?
That's right. Nobody but you. That's
so
right.
Nothing's going to stop me but me, right? So again, it all ties in together on why I invest so much time, energy, money into this stuff because I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. It's selfish of me to not put everything into this. It's selfish to not lead my children into what is possible, right? You and I have talked about this. It is our role to change the mindset and belief system in our family. You're the one, I'm the one. I didn't come up this way, right? But now that it's part of your everyday life, we have to inject that into these people. All right.
That's right. No, you're 100% right about all that, and it's phenomenal. You posted a video of your daughter, you and your daughters this weekend, and I saw it. And one thing that your daughter said at the end is, why do we prepare on the weekends for the week? And she said, because ordinary people don't do it, and we're not ordinary. I think is what she said. I love that, man. I love it.
See, if I leave these little girls with nothing else, you know what I want them to do? I want them to become independent. They don't need anybody to take care of them. Number 2, I always want them to have a hard skill. You are the best at X, whatever X is going to be. And number 3, nothing is too big up here because we're going to put in the work to make that a reality. If I leave those 2 little girls with nothing else, that I believe will be a legacy that I'm very proud of, right?
It's powerful. Yeah, that's right. It's powerful. But like when you think about everything, what are we doing all this for?
Yep.
I mean, who are we doing this for? We're doing it for our families. We're doing it for those closest to us, for ourselves.
Well, and here's the biggest thing that I know Ed even taught us in St. Louis is things are caught, not taught. Meaning that these little kids, I know I posted about that, they see what's going on. Yeah. They see how you interact with mom. They see how you interact 100%. With your clients. They see you waking up at 5 a.m. to go work out. They see how you do the weekends, right? They see all these things. So that to them becomes the norm. They see how you interact with people at hotels and people at the airplanes, right? And how you engage with waiters and the eye-to-eye contact and the gratitude that you have for them. These are things you can't teach them that. It's a way of life. And that can be the 100%. Same in business and that can be the same in the family, right? Why do people want people back in the office? Because in the brokerage world, in the 3PL environment, the sellers always got better by what they saw and heard by the person next to them. It's the same in life and business, my friend.
Yep. This morning on episode 13 of Iron Minds, Hayden and I were talking about this very thing about parenting, about if I tell my kids, hey, you need to get off your phone, but I don't get off my phone. If I tell my kids, hey, you don't need to eat after 8 o'clock, it's not healthy, but I'm eating after 8 o'clock. What is that actually telling them? Hypocrisy in parenting can only last until about 8 or 10 years old. Yep. And then they start to figure out, hey, what they're telling me is not what they're doing, and you lose all credibility, as a leader, as a parent, I mean, it has to be real.
So now we can move on to the third spectrum, which was last Friday, which was in Rosemont, which was
Chi-Town,
which was an amazing trip, by the way. That was unbelievable. But the strategic coach, this one was all around time management and running your calendar, because it's really, really true, Trey. Either you run your calendar or your calendar runs you. And we all talk about, oh my gosh, I'm so buried, I'm so slammed, I have no downtime. But is that real? Because to me, that kind of feels a little sloppy. See, I've always kind of lived my days and my life on 3 days in one, right? So the mornings are going to be a lot about you, right? You work out, you get into the office, you get your mindset right, you do whatever stuff you're going to do before you open yourself up to this big bad world. Because once you do that, again, the mornings you play offense. I'm going to push out everything. Then the middle of the day is going to be what I consider to be revenue driving activities, meetings, emails, conversations, right? Like what's happening in the middle of the day to keep things going. And then the third part of the day is going to be for what I consider to be family and follow-up. So I get 3 days in one myself. And with all this talk about people trying to take Fridays off and 4-day work weeks, number one, I'm already beating you there. Now you're going to give me 52 extra days? No chance, right? You don't do that with people like myself because it's just going to be a slippery slope as far as that goes. But once you learn how to control the calendar, that's where the separation comes, right? And a lot of what they talked about was 3 days that every person needs to focus on. A free day, which is really hard for me, which is no business. No emails, no checking in, no reading industry articles, right? Being present with your family or yourself. Get away. Then you're going to have what they call buffer days. Buffer days is where you're trying to build more momentum. You're trying to kind of tee things up. You're looking at the course of the week. What do I have on my pipeline? What do I need to touch? And then the third aspect is execution days, which is when you go, right? That's when you're locked in and you're going full throttle at these people. So it's trying to get the balance over the course of a quarter in every 3 of those buckets. Look, this stuff sounds a lot easier than it is, especially for someone like myself. I cannot slow down, right? Everyone knows that. But it's the more that you actually start to understand the dynamic and the reasonings behind it, that is where it becomes so impactful, man. So again, as I'm on this journey, you can see all the stuff. That's just in the last 30 days. Imagine the last decade that I've been living this life, right?
Yeah. That trip was incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible.
This stuff is
inspirational
for everyone. And here's the thing, too, you and I talked about this. Not everybody has the resources to be able to go and spend a lot of money and time and all these things in the cool stuff that I'm able to do, which I feel very blessed for. We live in a world right now. There is more information accessible than ever before. When you and I were 25,
no excuse.
We did not have the stuff that these kids have now. There was no TikTok. There was no Instagram. There was no YouTube, right? So there is free information available to people if they just simply use it the right way. Because guess what? You can look at Warren Buffett or you can look at Barstool. That is a choice.
That's right.
Use these platforms the right way as a free tool to be able to sharpen this axe.
There is no excuse not to improve yourself. There's no excuse. I mean, there never was an excuse, but like it's just so much easier now to do that. So even if you don't have a lot of money to do some of the things you're doing right now, a starting point. What would you say is a good starting point for somebody that just like, man, I really want to develop myself, but I don't have those resources yet? What would be the first thing you'd say?
I think you really have to start to create the movie script. You don't have to go 10 years out. Go a year out, right? Literally, we're coming up a holiday week. July 4th, 2023. What does my life look like? Where am I at physical shape? Where am I at family, relationship-wise? Where am I at career-wise? Am I in the same spot? Have I gotten better? Am I at the same company? Have I advanced? Have I moved into management? When was the last time? If you're going to be traveling, go on an airplane. Write this out. Don't do it on notes on your phone. Don't do it on an iPad. Go old school. Pen and paper. And write from the future. It is July 4th, 2023. I am, and then go. And let your imagination run like a child. That is a powerful, powerful exercise.
I'm going to bet that people will sit down for the first time to do that and nothing will come out for a while. Like they're going to need to sit for a while and figure that out because it's a new exercise. It's like,
I'll give you one better. When was the last time as an executive team within a business, you sat down and said, all right, guys, 3-year run. Where are we going? What do we look like? How many people do we have? What software do we have? What relationships do we have? How are we going to get better? Companies don't do this. You know what they do? Smile and dial. Spot market's down. Go sell more.
Yeah. What does today look like? Just today. You know, what does this week look like? Yep. Unbelievable, man.
You got to see ahead. You got to see ahead, right? And those are exercises that are free, Trey. This is free stuff.
I know, man. It is.
Never work on the business because they're stuck in the business, right? As a manager, where do you see your team in 2 years? Are the people that you have on your team the right people? It's stuff that you just got to get out of the weeds.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, I'm just as guilty, man, because I'm a new entrepreneur and I'm learning all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like every time I'm watching, I'm like, man, I got more to do. I got to keep getting better. I mean, it's just inspiring me to get better, to sit down with my team and go through some of these activities, to get back to doing it myself on a level that makes sense. Because you get stuck in the weeds, you get busy, but you got to take the time to think ahead and think about where you're going.
And here's the thing too. I mean, we're at halftime. We're at halftime of the year. You have to slow down and step back and be like, am I where I want to be? If I just literally repeat Q1 and Q2 for the rest of the year, does that get me to my end game? Am I at the weight I want? Am I in the right relationship that I have? Am I in the right company? Am I financially where I expect to be? Do you ever just slow down and like actually think and talk to yourself? Because guess what? Who do you think you talk to more than anybody else? Yourself.
That's right.
Learn what to say and how to say it.
Dude, so huge, man. So huge. We could talk about this for a long time. In fact, I want to follow up on Ed Milet's Power of One, but we're gonna have to do that another time. But that's huge. I love that concept as well. So much there. Brent, man, I love having you on the show. Thanks for breaking down. This was incredible content, man. I really appreciate you doing that. Hope you'll come back and see us real soon, man.
Anytime, man. I'm an easy guy to find.
Love it. Appreciate it. And everybody out there, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for the comments, Chris, for being on there. Jeff and Gabe and Samantha, appreciate that. Jeff says he's trying to go back to the 80. Jeff's a good dude. All right, everybody, make sure you come back tomorrow for another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, leadership, 10:30 a.m. Central every day. And everybody have a killer Monday. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care.